Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I am covering Gilmore Girls Season 1, Episode 3, Kill Me Now. Such a good season. We really get into some of the dynamics between Lorelai and her parents in this episode. And, I just love it. I love talking about this stuff, so let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives in New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. So the episode starts out at dinner with Emily and Richard, and Emily's saying Mira makes a perfect dinner, and they've let go Heidi, Trina, Sophia, Anton. Just this is an ongoing theme with them. They don't keep help very long, and the maid comes out and Lorelai says, "This was wonderful, Mira," and she says, "It's Sarah," and Lorelai says, "Mom, her name is Sarah." And Emily says, "I thought she said Mira." And we find out Lorelai the first is Richard's mom. He goes on and on about how wonderful she is. And Emily's just not a fan. We're definitely going to see this play out later. And Emily yells, "Mira, come out and cut the cake, please." And then we go to the opening credits. Beautiful opening credits. I just love these scenes so much. Love the song. So Emily's asking about that charming little inn of Lorelai's, and Rory pipes up and says, "Mom's having a huge wedding there this week." It turns out people are coming in from all over the country for it, and Emily then says, "Rory, how is Chilton?" Lorelai says, "Oh, okay, done with me now." Lorelai says Rory has to pick a team sport to play. So Emily says, "Well, your grandfather plays golf. Richard can take you on Sunday to the club. You can use Lorelai's old golf clubs. They're upstairs gathering dust along with the rest of her potential." Lorelai says, "Okay, can I talk to you for a minute?" So we see Lorelai ushering Emily into the other room. Emily's not happy about it. Lorelai's like, "Don't do this, Mom. Don't force them to go golfing." And Emily says, "I'm trying to help your daughter's education." Lorelai's begging her to let it go. And Emily says, just that she should go with her grandfather and have a good time. And then Emily says, "If Rory goes and has a good time without you, then I win. Interesting that you are being controlling. According to you, I'm the only one with that gift." So then she goes on to say, "I guess we're more alike than you thought." And this bothers Lorelai. Just thinks she doesn't want to be anything like her mother, especially with the controlling stuff. So after dinner, they're outside the house, and Lorelai is apologizing to Rory for having to go golfing. Rory tries to get Lorelai to come to the club with her, and Lorelai gives the funniest list of things she'd rather do than go to that club. She says, "I'd rather eat my hand than go to the club with you. I'd rather cut off my head and use it as a punch bowl than go to the club with you." Rory says, "Would you like me to drive so you can think of more of these?" And Lorelai says, "Yes, please." So the other big story going on this episode is the wedding at the end. It's twin girls and their mother is hilarious. She calls them spoiled brats and says they won't move away. Lorelai is handling everything. She's doing a great job, and they keep showing how she's just on top of everything. And she really helps with every detail. And the mom says, "This is my favorite place in the whole world." Then we go to Michel, and I love him. He's so funny. He says, "You staged these events to torture me." Lorelai says, "Did Rory call?" She's golfing all day with her grandfather, and Michel just couldn't care less. Then we see, while they're talking, Lorelai gets his attention, and they both look, and they freak out because the twin girls, they're marrying twin guys. Michel says, "You kept this from me on purpose." And he says, "Just let me know when the midgets and the clowns arrive." Then we go to Richard and Emily's. They are getting ready for the golf outing with Rory. Emily's telling him to take her to lunch and to go play golf. He's just not that into it or excited. She gives him a talking to. She says, "So help me God, you will be sweet to this girl and show her a good time. It means a lot to my happiness and to yours that this day goes well. Are we clear?" So it's interesting to see Emily lay down the law for him, and he understands now that it's very important to her that this goes well. Rory arrives, and they put that funny cap on her head, and it turns out she's using Lorelai's old clubs. So it's interesting. It's interesting because they haven't had a relationship with Rory, so this is kind of her grandfather getting to know her. They lost their relationship with their daughter because of how it all played out when she got pregnant at 16, so now they're trying to get this relationship with their granddaughter, Rory. And it's interesting to see the bond. It's also interesting to see Lorelai's reaction to it all. You know, she's not sure that she wants them to have a relationship because she had such a bad relationship with them. But Rory and her grandfather, Richard, really bond. They find out she is dying to travel, and he has spent his business or his career in international insurance traveling. So they can bond over that and the books that she likes to read and stuff. And it's just nice to see him enjoy her company. So then we go over to Jackson and Suki. And I love the two of them together. I think their dynamic is so funny. It's so cute. And he was supposed to bring her strawberries. Well, she freaks out. She's like, "I need them. I'm making strawberry shortcake." But all he's brought is blueberries. But he's trying to say, "Listen, I didn't bring them because they weren't right, and you wouldn't have accepted them because they weren't right." Lorelai walks in, and she ends up telling them about the golf outing with her dad, and Suki kind of knows the situation and the relationship, so she's checking in with Lorelai. But mostly she's focused on the lack of strawberries. And it's just funny because Suki gets in these rabbit holes. She just gets stuck on an idea. She needs the strawberries. So then Michelle comes and gets her and says the bride's mom needs to talk to her. Michelle put a Post-it on one of the twin guys so he could tell who is who. It was just a funny scene there. They're fighting over soup versus salad, so Lorelai's trying to tell Suki, "Listen, just give them a choice. They can either have soup or salad. It solves everything." Meanwhile, over at the golf course, they're bonding. They're getting to know each other more. They're talking. She hit the ball. She's celebrating. They enjoy a nice walk together. She wants to learn more about what Richard does. He's the executive VP for an insurance group, and he ends up asking her to lunch. And they decide first they're going to go in the saunas, and then they're going to meet back up. Well, Rory gets to hear all the good gossip in the sauna, so it's just cute. It's a cute scene. Back at the end, Lorelai is setting up this wedding. We get to see Kirk. Kirk's got swans. And she's asking Michelle for help, and he says absolutely not. He was attacked by a swan, so he won't help at all. He's scared. Lorelai's kind of laughing at him and says, "Well, it's either that or help Drella with the harp." So he ends up helping with the swans. But it's funny to see Kirk, ongoing thing. Again, we're going to see Kirk with a million jobs. Love Kirk. So then it's Rory and Richard, and again, she's filling him in on the gossip she heard from the steam room about all these different people. And he's just excited to get to know her and just enjoying her company. He ends up introducing her to some of his friends, and they join for lunch, and it's nice. It's nice that they're bonding. And Richard is very proud of her and talking about the Chilton thing. Then we go over to Luke's. Later that night, Rory's there. He's teasing her about the hat, and Lorelai is coming to join. And Lorelai walks in and says, "Luke, I need the biggest cheeseburger in the world. Let's break a record, mister." Rory had a really good time with her grandpa. Rory actually says it was quite good. And Lorelai starts giving her a hard time, saying, "What's with the quite good? You never say that." Lorelai says, "I'm surprised. I thought you'd be bored." And Rory says, "It was pretty there, and Grandpa and I talked." And Lorelai's just kind of surprised. She says, "You had fun? Really? That's great." So she's trying to put on a happy face here, but again, she's hesitant because of her history with her parents. She's just not sure that she wants Rory to bond with them because of, the hurt that they've caused her. So Luke comes and sets down this hamburger in front of her, and for the first time, she doesn't dive in. She kind of ignores it. And Luke says, "Well, I thought I thought you were starving. And she said, things change, move on. Obviously, she's just affected by this Richard development, and she's just not sure how to handle it. So she's just taking it all in. So back to the end, Miss Patty's teaching the couple how to dance and hitting on the grooves, which is very Miss Patty. Meanwhile, Michelle tells Lorelai she has a phone call. Lorelai takes the phone, finds out it's her dad calling, but he doesn't want to speak to her. He has to speak to Rory. So again, this is a further development that Lorelai's just not sure about. So she hands the phone over, but you can tell that there's nervousness there, and it comes up later. Well, right here. So they're back at the house, and Rory's just looking at herself and talking to her mom, and Lorelai, she's just not sure about all this, and she's feeling weird and thinking about it all, and she ends up picking a fight with her. She says, hey, is that my sweater? And Rory's like, yeah. And Lorelai says, well, you need to ask me if you borrow it. And Rory says, I'm sorry. And Lorelai says, it's okay, but you're going to stretch it out. Ooh. And Rory's like, what? And Lorelai says, yeah, your boobs are bigger than mine. And Rory says, no way, your boobs are bigger than mine. So they talk about it, and Lorelai's like, let's get a measuring tape. And Rory says, you're correct. Babette comes over to borrow some vegetable oil to get Cinnamon, her cat, unstuck from under the porch. And it's just a tense, that part was funny, but it's just a tense scene. I hate this. I hate that Lorelai's so upset, and she's threatened and worried about her bond with Rory and her bonding with her parents and all that. So it's just an interesting scene to play out, and we're definitely going to get into that more as the show goes on, of course. So then we see Lorelai taking a walk with Suki, and she admits, listen, I was mad, I was stupid, and I wanted to apologize for last night. When I got up this morning, she was gone. And so she's saying that she had fun with Richard and Emily, and she's nervous. And why was I trying to get her out of Friday night dinner? What am I trying to do? Undermine their relationship? Yes, I was. So her idea was she was going to get him out of Friday night dinner by using the golf thing, saying, listen, we spent time with you guys, we don't need to come. But Rory really wanted to do dinner. So it just bothered Lorelai. I think it just further added to this, but now she's realizing she's being ridiculous. Meanwhile, Suki sees these strawberries, and she's drawn to them. She crosses the street for them, walks in front of a car, really excited to see these big, beautiful strawberries. This scene makes me want to eat strawberries. Will Jackson sees her, and he says, unbelievable, you're sneaking around behind my back buying someone else's strawberries. Well, she ends up chasing after him, saying, wait, can we talk about this? And he's running from her, and it's so cute. It's so funny to see. So it's the day of the wedding, and it's just a sweet event. Everybody's happy and dancing, and Lorelai's watching, and the mom comes over and just tells her what a great job she did, and thank you for everything. And she's also excited because her daughters are moving away. Look how gorgeous Lorelai looks here. I just love this dress on her. I know the neck's a little weird, but it's kind of cool too. It's very, early 2000s dress, but she looks gorgeous. Well, she goes over to talk to Rory, and she apologizes. She says, I'm sorry, a crazy evil spirit obsessed with bra size took over my body. I'm very glad you're bonding with your grandparents. I just can't relate to it. And Rory says, well, you could if you tried. And Lorelai says, no, too much has happened. I'm glad you are anyway. I don't mean to cut you off from them so completely. Not having them in my life just felt so right, and I'm sorry. Then we see this scene of this woman fussing over this little girl's dress, saying how expensive it is, and she needs to sit a certain way and act a certain way. And we get a glimpse. That's what Lorelai's childhood was like. Everything had to be perfect. And Lorelai's not perfect, so she raised her daughter a different way. And I think Rory appreciates that. She's just trying to understand it. Then they go over to dinner at Richard and Emily's, and Lorelai brought them blueberry shortcake. And Emily at first seems pleased, but then she opens the box and says, it's already cut. And she says, you brought us used dessert? She says, it's not used, it's left over. And then Emily says, did Rory tell you about the wonderful time at the club? We should consider a membership for her at the club. Lorelai says, yeah, if she wants one. Emily says, it's very interesting the way things turned out, isn't it? She's just relishing this and eating it up, that her daughter is bonding with the grandparents. Lorelai's trying to act like she's fine with it, but Emily knows better, and she's eating this up. She's laying it on so thick about what a good time Richard and Rory had together, and just enjoying it. And, Lorelai's not feeling super comfortable. Again, I think Rory notices it. Richard ends up coming out and saying, hey, I have that book you wanted if you want to come take a look. And Emily says, oh, I'll go too. And Lorelai's left by herself. And again, we see this face. She's bummed. I mean, she loves Rory. She wants her to have a relationship with them. She just doesn't know what kind of relationship she wants them to have together. And that is it for the episode, you guys. So good. So much going on. I just love the writing. I love how fast they talk. So much storyline. So many interesting ways these stories go. I really enjoy this show so much. So another great episode. Again, killer that it's the first few of the whole series, and they just really get into everything. It's so good. So I hope you're enjoying it too. I really appreciate all the lovely comments and feedback. I really do. Share it with your Gilmore girlfriends. Let them know that we're covering this and to come watch. And find me on here. Leave me a comment. I love them. Also find me on Twitter @RealRecaps. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.